Hi, friends and watchers of YouTube. Just want to do a quick live today because it's almost Mother's Day and this is my season. If you follow us, you probably know about my series, The Mother Daughter Relationship Makeover. Um, 4 Steps to Heal the Love and the companion workbook, and they are on sale for Mother's Day for $25. You can get both books and try them out to see what you think. But today we're going to talk about the most important question to even get you started, which is your relationship with your mom toxic or is it just tense? So lots of people have complicated relationships with their moms. We all know I did. But is it toxic or is it just tense? It's super easy to get annoyed by an overprotective or intrusive mom, but there's a huge difference between tension with your mom and real destructive dysfunction. So I ask you, how is your relationship with your mom? Do you have a loving and supportive mom who accepts you and loves you unconditionally? Or do you have a toxic, controlling, more on the narcissistic side mom who's made your life miserable forever? You know, the truth is, whether anyone wants to admit it or not, your relationship with your mom has effects on your life and all of your adult relationships. So today is the moment to kind of look around and look at your current relationships. Are they strained? Because if so, maybe it's time to find out if the relationship that built you was healthy or more on the toxic side. So let's begin with if your relationship with your mom was healthy. And there's some basics to all of these things, you know, it's checklist things. And these have to do with both mom and daughter implement and respect boundaries. Um, I think that's really, really important. Anybody who knows anything about boundaries is if you ask somebody to stop doing something because it makes you uncomfortable or upset or it hurts your feelings or worse, and they won't stop, that's breaking a boundary and it can cause a lot of harm ongoing. So the next one is they spend time together doing healthy activities. And I think what goes hand in hand with healthy activities is activities that support each other. So if one really loves something, the other one, you know, maybe partakes in it just sometimes to support them, or they found things that they really love together. Another really big one is acceptance. And that has to do with showing up for each other. And it doesn't always mean that you like what's going on or the decisions that your mother or your daughter is making, but you're there to be accepting and supportive, which jumps right into the next one, which is that love is unconditional. If mom or daughter is doing things that make you unhappy and you decide, you know, you're just going to take your love away, that's conditional. Or if they do that to you, that's conditional. So, that can make the relationship very transactional and can set you up for having transactional relationships down the line. So you want to make sure that you didn't grow up in a scenario or that was where love was conditional, or if you did, that's something that you look at now. And right after that is affection. You know, affection should not be conditional either. Affection is something that you should be able to receive in a healthy way that you're comfortable with without having to beg for it. You know, the other important marker of a healthy mother daughter bond is healthy communication. And what does that mean? It means they're both able to listen to each other, and active listening, you know, listen without just reacting, really being able to hear somebody and make them feel safe, being able to respond in appropriate ways, no matter how you feel about what they told you. And then, you know that they will defend you, that you can lean on each other, especially in tough times. You really don't have to doubt whether or not they're going to talk behind your back or do anything that's going to betray you. So another thing is showing unconditional love, warmth, and support verbally. You know, it's one thing to say, "Oh, I know she feels this way about me," but it's really important to hear those things. So you want to know that somebody is actually feels these ways, but can also say it. So it all sounds really good. We all wish we had it, but many didn't. And That's okay. The point of all of this is just to identify what you had or what you didn't have and see if it had effects on your life today. And if so, do you want to do something about it? I mean, everything I do and everything we do at Reach Out Recovery is just really giving you clarity, because when you have clarity, you can make choices. And that's what I think recovery is really all about, being able to make informed choices. Like, oh, now I know why I do this. Do I want to continue doing it, or do I want to make changes? Okay, so moving on, let's talk about what unhealthy look like. These are sort of common experiences that can be filed under unhealthy. So, this is when mom did not prioritize her daughter's needs. She may have ignored them altogether. Um, and needs can be everything from emotional to affection to really serious ones, like you didn't get enough to eat, or she wasn't home, there was neglect, or worse. So the next one is serious boundary issues. And these can vary, whatever the boundary issues are. A big ones that you hear a lot of times are mom wants daughter to be her best friend or even a party buddy. Um, or mom is kind of just completely intrusive in daughter's life with her friends, in inappropriate ways, not in just concerned, necessary parenting ways. Here's the big one. Anybody who had kind of a narcissistic mom knows this one. And this one is the controlling mom. This is the mom who has to control everything in your life, what you eat, what you look like, what you do, who you're friends with. Maybe she had grand plans for her daughter. And these plans had nothing to do with what daughter wants, or even if they made sense to daughter. This is really, a mom who looks at daughter as an extension of herself, not as her own person. Um, Another big one is if mom is devoutly religious or has certain beliefs in a certain way, and daughter didn't come out the way she wanted her to, and now she actually punishes her for that. That's a tough one. And then there are the egregious situations. And this is where in our books we do talk about maybe you don't reconcile right now. Maybe you have to think about the safety of yourself or the whole family or other people. So the egregious situations really involve where there's alcoholism or addiction. And if you know what that looks like, it can involve everything when somebody's an alcoholic or an addict. A child can be unsafe in a variety of different ways, but basically, it's an incredibly unsafe and unpredictable situation to grow up in. Another huge one is mom had abusive boyfriends, or worse, boyfriends that actually did something to the children. That's kind of really high up there, in my opinion, on worst case scenarios. Another one is severe or untreated mental illness. A mom who is really struggling with serious mental illnesses and refuses to treat them puts her children in serious danger and serious emotional harm as well. This is a tough one. I always, we want to acknowledge it because it's real, but obviously in this kind of situation, the blame is a little bit lessened. But poverty is a situation where so many needs don't get met that the child is experiencing kind of a very difficult situation that's going to have some unfortunate lifelong effects. And other situations where the daughter is not only unloved, but in grave danger a lot of the time. These are the kind of situations that really wire a daughter's nervous system in the ways that we don't want it to be wired, to be prepared for terrible things to happen, to have these fight or flight responses, to just not be wired in a kind of peaceful or healthy way. But I want to talk about something that I think is also really important, because the mother-daughter relationship, it's very layered, and there are some situations that are a bit more tricky that aren't quite as clear as the black and white. She was just a little too protective, or she was drinking all day. So it's not always the egregious situations that cause trouble with moms and daughters. Have you ever met a mom who simply can't stay out of her daughter's business? She calls, she meddles, she gossips, she doesn't like the boyfriend or the husband, and she guilts her daughter constantly about not spending enough time with her. That's a mom without boundaries. And that can be very difficult for an adult daughter to live with long term. Moms who are cold and withholding can also create damage in emotional worlds of their daughters. Daughters will go to great lengths to please moms who can't be pleased. I know a lot of people like that, and it can lead us to the critical moms, and instead of being focused on the positive, kind of get stuck in that place where looking for her to fill in the self-esteem. So another situation is many moms do adore their daughters, but just lack the ability to know what's appropriate. And that is the cause of discomfort. So this is why having good communication and also being able to hear what's being said to you without freaking out is so important. In my situation with my mom, and certainly with the work we've done, we often have to hold our tongues a lot of the time. Not because we're fearful of the other reaction, but because we now respect each other's feelings and want to keep the peace. So anyway, this was just a quickie today because, again, Mother's Day is next week. Both of our books, the first book, Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover, 4 Steps to Heal the Love, and the follow-up workbook companion, are on sale for $25 together, which is unheard of. You can get them on our website, reachoutrecovery.com. And we want you to have them and try them, because wherever your relationship is with your mother or your daughter, we have a lot of tips and information that can really, really help. And it doesn't have to go to the worst place before you decide you want to communicate. So anyway, that's it for today.